Welcome to Travel with Danny and MJ.
I'm Mary Jane.
And I'm Danny. We're traveling the world with just carry-ons and a backpack each.
Welcome to Antwerp's Central Station. Isn't it magnificent? It was built in 1905 as a train station, and it's more like a railway cathedral, they may call it, and we're about to go in.
We've entered the central hall, or the entrance hall anyway, of the Antwerp train station, and it is amazing. Just a train station, as Mary Jane said, a cathedral of a train station. Just really magnificent. There's this window by the ceiling. This intricate. This is the area of the train station where the trains are. So we're in the main entrance hall. This is massive multi-levels, and then looking back towards that entrance area and the glass ceiling, letting in the light.
In 2009, Newsweek voted this train station as the fourth most beautiful in the world. But in 2014, a British magazine voted it the #1 most beautiful train station in the world, and it is magnificent.
We're going to find those other 3 train stations and see what we think. Coming down the stairs back into the main entrance hall. Just a different perspective. Looking all around. Details. Another exterior view of the train station. Walking through the streets of Antwerp, heading towards the Grootmarkt or Grand Place. We're walking along the Meer, which is kind of the main shopping street. So we walk towards the more historic part of Antwerp.
So that building is always one of these buildings, and we are quite easy with the names that we give to places in Antwerp or buildings. So, for example, the area where all the diamond business happens today is literally called the Diamond Area. Our southern neighborhood is called the South neighborhood. Left bank there is called Left Bank. And this building we call the Stone. That's it. And the Stone is the only building left of the original Baroque. Okay.
This is the Cathedral of Antwerp. It is a Gothic cathedral. The churches, our tour guide told us, operate independently from the city, charge their own admissions and make their own revenue. It was meant to have 2 large towers, but they only built and maintain 1. The towers are World UNESCO Heritage Sites, but the rest of the cathedral is not UNESCO Heritage.
There was already a small chapel on this site in 1352, and they started building this cathedral, and it took 170 years to finish, and it's 123 meters high.
We're going to see the Vlekkensgang. I think that's how you pronounce that. So this is the Vlekkensgang, and it proceeds. through this alleyway. It's filled with different restaurants and cafes and such. Continues through this alley. All a cool little, just part of Antwerp. And we're out. Our tour guide told us this is the place to come to get your frites. Stone, the backside of it. And you can see it's quite close to the river. Some of the boats on the river there. This fence along the walk near the river is quite ornate, but it's definitely seen better days. Quite rusted. But this is the Grootmarkt, the main square in Antwerp, and we can see here is a statue kind of telling kind of a mythical story about Antwerp and how this Roman soldier came called Silvio Bravo. He came and defeated a giant who's lying down at the bottom. You can see his feet. Let me walk around it a little bit. But apparently this giant had been blocking the port of Antwerp, and sailors who refused to pay were losing. He was chopping off one of their hands and throwing it in the river. So finally, this Roman soldier came, Silvio Bravo, came and defeated the giant. And if I get around, you can see that Silvio Bravo was holding a giant hand and throwing it into the river. And then Antwerp was free again to become a great city. The main building in the Grootmarkt is the town hall, which is still the city hall. It is pretty interesting architecture. It has the shields of the city. The city shield is the one with the eagle on it, and it's hard to see, but on the bottom by the castle there are hands, because of that story about Silvio Bravo. Hands became very much a part of Antwerp's history and identity, and Antwerp, we were told, means hands thrown. So throwing the hand into the river is how Antwerp became known. So the entire square is pretty spectacular, old, I guess 15th, 16th century buildings, and overlooking it in the distances. Now we're in the Groenplatz, which stands for Green Square or Plaza. See the cathedral back in the background, and then there's this statue kind of dominating the square of Peter Paul Rubens, the famous artist. But this statue is not depicting him as an artist, it's depicting him as a diplomat. He was one of the big roles he played for the city of Antwerp, especially during the 80 Years' War with Spain, was to act as a diplomat between Antwerp and Spain, and the city really views him as that. There is some, on the ground. There's his painting equipment next to him by his feet, but he's wearing a sword and he's in diplomatic garb, and that's really what this statue is meant to represent of him. And over here, in this other pretty impressive building, is a very conveniently located Hilton. I don't believe the Hilton words are historically accurate. You're on.
Okay, this is St. Charles Borromeo's Church, and it was built between 1615 and 1621 in the middle of the Counter-Reformation period. And during those times, the church wanted to make everything beautiful to retain the faithful. So the inside was designed by Rubens, and the outside is very Baroque.
Another thing about Rubens is he kind of designed the interior, he kind of drew it out, but other artisans actually executed his plans, and they would bring in experts on particular things like drawing horses or drawing ships or all kinds of things, and they would work for Rubens in terms of making the art inside. Also in this square is the city library, and they have a statue honoring this guy Hendrik. I don't know his last name, but one of the things that happens, especially with the students, is you can tell his hand is kind of open. His left hand is kind of open, so very often he will end up with the beer can in it. We're back walking on the Meer again, the Meer, the main shopping street here. It's all pedestrian now. When we were this morning, there were still trucks allowed to make deliveries, but now it's really just pedestrian, and it's quite the crowd. It's buzzing.
So the street we're on is called, however you pronounce it, Friday Market, and it means Friday Market because every week they have a market here on Friday. People bring their used things and they sell them in an auction style, and it happens every Friday here. It has been for hundreds of years.
And anything that's not sold in the market has to be thrown away. So that's the rule of the market. If it's not auctioned off, it simply gets thrown away, and people can come and pick up things for free, or then the garbage people come at the end of the day and take it away. So this is the Planten Moretus Museum, which is the only UNESCO World Heritage Museum in Antwerp, and it is all about this particular famous printer, Christoph Planten, who came to Antwerp and started a very, very successful printing business. We're going to visit the Red Star Line Museum now. It's really about all the ships that took all the immigrants out of Europe and around the world. This very modern building over there is called the Maas Museum. I think it's more of a cultural historical museum here, and you can go there. You can visit the museum and the artwork and the different things, but you can also just it's an open public building. You can just go in it, and you can go to the roof and get the view of the city from there, which we plan to do. So we made it to the top of the Maas Museum for the overview. So we're looking over the Rhine River here, looking down towards the historic center, the cathedral, all the way over to the train station with the Ferris wheel right near it. Complete view of the city. This building right below, where there's like statues climbing up the side of the building. Small marina below the mosque on this side. There's more of Antwerp. There are many windmills off in the distance. The more industrial side of it. So this is the castle by the river. They call it the Stone. It was built, it's over 1,000 years old. The darker sections on the lower part are the older parts, and the lighter parts are more recent 15th century construction. It's had many uses, including as a prison. Now we're at the top of the Steen. Back onto the city. The cathedral spire. More of the Steen and the town in the background. Some lovely old buildings. There are some river cruises docked here along the Rhine here in Antwerp, and I don't know, maybe that'll be on the list at some point. Taking a cruise like that. So up close, looking up at the Steen, the castle here. To guard the city.
Over the centuries, it was the city gate. It became a prison. It was a sawmill. It was the head of the magistrate, and now it's the tourist office.
I guess back hundreds of years ago, this is where someone approaching from the water would see this fortress that was defending the city. So many years ago, Antwerp had canals into the city, kind of like some other towns like Bruges and Ghent, but hundreds of years ago they covered them up, but they still allowed boats to come in that way and offload kind of through, trap doors or that came up out of the ground, and you could unload the boats from underground basically. They ended that some time ago, but you can still do a walking tour down in those canals. They became sewers for a little while, and they give you a whole outfit, and you walk around. And we didn't have time for that, but we saw something about it. So this is the train station, the Antwerp train station, illuminated at night. Really beautiful. And then we've got the Ferris wheel off to the side. Just can't get enough of this train station. It's really one of the most beautiful train stations I've ever seen. The American said that it was rated number 4 by a magazine, and I can't imagine 3 better train stations than this. Not to see. Took the Flixbus today. Antwerp and back.